Hiya everyone. So we're bringing out these comment roundups, which were a regular fixture, but we basically let them slide. Used to doing with Adam, as you'll remember. Now, Maeve, who has been producing these incredible videos, she wants me to scapegoat her, but that's not fair. It's my own shambolic incompetence. I can barely tie my own shoelaces on some days. Now, we can't go back a whole year, but we can have a little look at some of the comments, brilliant comments, some better than others, that have been left on some of the videos we've done recently. So we've interviewed Munro Bergdorf.
I'm worried, the fact that no one seems to be challenging this, the fact that it seems okay to be abusing trans people consistently.
We've chatted to the new Australian Labour leader, DJ Albo.
We'd won every poll, every single poll for 2 years. It was one that we should have been able to nail, and people expected us to, and I think that was part of the problem.
We've of course chatted to disability campaigner and former star of Grange Hill, a big icon of my youth, Francesca Martinez.
Many poor and disabled people and sick people and those with mental health issues, I think they're regarded as easy targets sometimes.
And finally, and I do believe my entire career has been building up to this moment, The Guardian finally filmed me in the dark room of a gay club.
That's oral corner.
Right, cool.
This is kind of like a bit more manual kind of area. I think because I
Have
think
they washed it since last night?
Does it smell like it's been washed?
Now, we're going to start with a general comment from one of my fans commenting on the Glastonbury video. James Moran, hello. Owen Jones is a gay socialist. David Brent. I think what you've got to remember is I'm just a chilled out nationaliser of the means of production. Oh, that was bad. Mr. Kish, hiya. The left keep losing elections as no one believes left-wing politics benefits anyone but the champagne socialists. Yeah, the champagne socialist vibe. I mean, I prefer Prosecco, but I don't know when champagne has always become this kind of, look how hypocritical they are. I mean, you can get champagne these days, not very nice, for like £8 from the newsagents, but it's this kind of, if you believe in social justice and you're too young, they call you naive. If you're too old, they call you a dinosaur. If you're too poor, they accuse you of envy. And if you're too rich, they call you a hypocrite. So you can't really win. If you're talking about champagne socialists, of course, the left argue for higher taxes on rich people. So if you're talking about richer socialists, then they're going to have to end up paying more tax. That's the whole point of asking for more taxes on wealthier people. So how will it benefit? If you're a rich socialist, it's not going to personally benefit you, is it, if you're going to have to pay more tax? So I just think it's inconsistent. So Stephanie Mackley, hiya, in response to the Munro Bergdorf interview, says, I've had a little abuse in the streets, a lot of abuse online, but it actually says the more damaging is wait for services in the NHS, withdrawal of services, and so on. But I think, this is a really important point, which is there isn't enough focus, and that includes people like myself who've tried to be allies as best as possible to what is a besieged and attacked minority in British society, is things like, as you say, the wait for services on the NHS for those seeking transition. And obviously the NHS is in crisis, and it's suffered the worst squeeze in its funding as a proportion of the economy since it was founded back in the 1940s. But the fact that that provision isn't being there has a massive impact, of course, on the mental well-being of trans people. So we do need to start talking far more about this. You're absolutely right. And as you've said, people have got, you've talked about suicidal ideations, people who you've tragically lost, who couldn't wait 3 years for an appointment. And I'm so devastated to hear that. And that's why it's so important we talk about this more. Gerald Finn, hello. What trans people have to go through is appalling, but what is more appalling is the disdain with which a lot of particularly gay men think of trans people. Our community should be in the vanguard for trans rights. After all, most gay men have been there too. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with this more. It is so tragic, beyond tragic, when you get members of an oppressed minority who suffer bigotry treating other minorities exactly the way they're treated. You'd think to yourself, hang on, I've gone through all of this, so I don't want others to go through it, rather than go, well, actually, no, I'm going to do to them what's happened to me. It is really infuriating. And, I do think some gay and bisexual men need to wake up to that, and they should respond in kind by showing solidarity when others are under attack. Being she. Hi. Now, this is in response to Francesca's brilliant interview. Socialism for the banks, car industry, insurance industry, capitalism for everyone else. This is a huge bugbear for me. Couldn't agree with you more. You get the financial crisis, and what happened was I didn't do anything, I was just whinging about it at the time, but we nationalised the debt and we privatised the profit. So the banks could carry on, just as they always did, paying more bonuses to those at the top than every EU country put together, not lending to small businesses, helping to kind of throttle the recovery from a disaster they caused. Whilst you get, the state support given to people who are struggling in society, made ever more conditional, taken away. Socialism for the rich, capitalism sink or swim for everybody else. Nigel Alden-Gray always thought it was disgraceful when all the employee centres were closed. They gave many disabled people a reason to leave the house in the morning, and was also a social hub where they can meet up with friends. I just think, if the test of a civilised society is how do we treat those who are most vulnerable, those who are ill, those who are disabled, then my word, how we fail. Because disabled people have had their benefits stripped away. They've been put through the most degrading work capability assessments, where, as Francesca Martinez pointed out, the majority of those who end up appealing win those appeals, but after going through months of trauma when they're already struggling as it is. Smog the horse. Hi, Smog. Owen Jones. That's me. Hi. Yet another great reason, one of many this year, why not to go to Glastonbury. That festival lost its way years ago. I love the fact me going to a music festival to record a video is one of the most damning indictments of the decline of that festival. I mean, yeah, I am the emblem of all that is wrong and evil, and I would actually add sinful about Glastonbury, its moral decay, and the moral decay of this nation. Glastonbury represents the Labour Party perfectly. It used to be about the working class, now about privileged middle class hypocrites, making itself feel morally superior to the rest of us, pontificating how smart, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think accurately, is that fair? I think actually the Labour Party isn't representative of enough working class people. I do think they need to do more. In terms of Glastonbury, I don't know, like a lot of people, you go there. Have you been? Have you been? I'm just checking. I mean, you can't answer. Well, you can answer to your screen, but can't hear you. Is that actually a lot of people just save up all year and it's their big highlight of the year? I just think maybe just don't stereotype it all. Just a thought. Just to wrap up, so we do ask each week for suggestions of who we should talk to. Paolo J. Ratto, you have to come to Argentina and make some interview with the candidates for the elections. Yeah, can we go to Argentina, Maeve?
I would love to go to Argentina.
We're going to Argentina! Peter Manuel, how about you interview Martin Jacques about China and climate change, or Femi Alawoli about his campaign, that's on the EU, or Noam Chomsky on media manipulation? Sound ideas, might have to do Noam down the line, and Martin Jacques also lives in China, worth a go. Can we go to China? Can we go to China? We'll just go. Keep sending in these ideas to go to foreign climes and insist upon them. By the way, demand the Guardian send us there. Finlay McFay, I think a chat with you and Rory Stewart would be really interesting to see. I agree. I think we might be able to. I don't know. I'm not sure how committal his team have been, but I think we've asked. So tweet Rory politely and ask him to speak to us. Anyway, it's been a huge pleasure. We will do these each month because I really enjoy them, and also I like people kind of, jabbing at me a bit. Do keep the comments coming. It's always a pleasure. It is mostly a pleasure. And send in suggestions. We've got lots of great interviews coming up. As ever, subscribe. I'll see you next time.